Okay, welcome everyone to the first ever episode of the Out of the Ground cricket show. My name is Vaibhav, and I work in financial technology, but cricket is a passion, and I've followed cricket for most of my life now. Uh, Bobo, do you want to give your introduction,
Sure.
please?
So my name is Gaurav, and I live in London. I work in market research, and cricket is not exactly my passion, but I used to watch cricket as a child, and now I started following after maybe 10 or 15 years. So I'm
Yeah, so it
definitely
used to be that if anyone said that Bob even liked watching cricket, he would fight with them because his thing was that nope, I'm not a cricket fan because I want to stand out. I don't want to be the standard Indian boy, Indian man who is passionate about cricket. I want to be different than everyone. Is that right, Bob?
not really, but I think we're not here to argue on that. So let's
Okay, we're
get
not going to
started.
argue about that. All right, cool. Let's get started. So what are we trying to do with this show, with this podcast, whatever we want to call it? Bob, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, the idea of this podcast is that we want to have a very basic, knowledge of cricket that we want to share with everyone. We want to talk about what's happening. So right now, India's playing against England. We might talk about that. We have an IPL coming soon. We might talk about that. But the real idea is we are not really experts on cricket. At least I'm not. So I don't want this podcast to be expert opinion, but more just basic opinion of two people who like watching cricket and
Yeah.
what we can share with the people who want to either learn about cricket or just want to understand what's happening in cricket at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And so who's the right audience for this, you think?
I think it's anywhere, anyone who is either just interested in cricket, who's not, for whom cricket is a little bit alien because we are going to start from the very basics,
Yeah.
right up
So
to
we will
anyone
assume
who
nothing.
yeah, right up to anyone
Yeah.
who watches cricket regularly, but they just want to understand,
Yeah.
someone's perspective on the game, what we think about the matches that are happening at the moment, and just share a little bit of what we know about cricket.
So that being said, do you want to dive into what's going on in the cricket world right now, and then we'll kind of pick up things that are worth talking about, and explaining basics. But in addition to that, talking about what we're expecting in the next week, because this is also a bit of a preview show to the India England second test that's
Yeah.
coming up. So I guess it's fair to say that the first test was a bit of a shocker for everyone. To set the tone as well, Bob, do you are you for whatever cricket you watch? Are you usually supporting India, or like for instance in India versus England, would you support England, or would you want England to win? For
No,
instance,
of course, I would always want England to win. No, just kidding. I would always support for India, no matter where I live, and that's
yeah,
not going to change.
yeah,
I'm not sure if it was entirely a shocker. I mean, India
yeah.
is
Oh,
known
you
to
don't
have
think
bad
so?
starts. I think India is
Okay,
known to have bad starts, and I feel personally that the team was really put on a pedestal after the match in Australia, especially the
yeah,
last one where no one expected them to win, but they still
yeah,
managed to pull it out. I feel that at some level the team was a little overconfident, and also look at England who just played Sri Lanka, right? So they had
yeah.
definitely some advantage in playing in those
Lot of
conditions,
subcontinent. Yeah,
which were very similar. Chennai is not very
yeah,
far from Sri Lanka, and at the
yeah,
same time, India was still missing a couple of very important players. So we didn't have Ravindra
yeah,
Jadeja, we did not have Shami.
yeah,
So I think with all that, I don't
yeah,
entirely feel it was a big surprise. I
yeah,
still feel that India is going to come back and it's not going to be a whitewash. But
yeah.
I feel that England definitely has the upper hand at this point.
So just to set the context for people who are coming into this with very little knowledge, basically what has happened is India just played a four-test series. It was a whole series in Australia. So India doesn't always win in alien conditions. So that's a good cricket basics to talk about, right? Like typically you are expected to win at home, but only like really good teams will typically win outside. And India for the longest time as a test squad did not have a very good record winning overseas, although they've had a few series. It kind of happens every decade or so. They say it happened in 2001, it happened in 2011, and now again, where India has won a major series outside. So this was our second consecutive win in Australia of the Border Gavaskar Trophy, playing in Australia. So
Yeah.
that's what you were saying before when you said that they were put on a pedestal, because they lost the first match where the Indian captain Virat Kohli was playing and captaining, and we got out 36 runs in the second innings. And so it was just hugely shocking for everyone that are we're not no one expects us to always win overseas, but no one saw that coming either. Were you following any of the cricket at that time?
Yeah, so I wasn't following much of cricket at that point. I think at that point also India did not get a lot of credit for winning it. Obviously, it was a huge victory for them, but everyone felt that Australia was missing two key players. So they did not have Steve Smith, did not
Oh,
have
you mean the previous
the
series?
previous year. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, okay,
exactly.
yeah, got
So
it.
I felt for that reason India did not get a lot of credit, but this time they were
Yeah,
really put on a pedestal because
right.
they, with the team they were playing with, right? So that was
Yeah,
a big difference versus what happened last time. So it was almost like India was playing with the team Australia was playing last year, but still
correct,
managed to win and win very comprehensively. So
correct.
that for me, I think really people who were following cricket obviously made a lot out of that match. But even people who did not watch much of cricket in India, because Test match was kind of losing its shine a little bit, but
Yeah.
I think that really helped Test match as a whole because suddenly we were seeing that Test matches were not as boring as what they were perceived to be.
Right. So Test match cricket kind of became very popular. I think over the
Yeah,
last 2 months or so, it's picked up a lot of steam across India because of this huge kind of come from behind when people who used to not really watch cricket at all, or definitely not Test cricket, are much more interested in it now. So what happens in Australia is the first match we lose by getting 36 all out, and then after that we drew one match. We won the second match, and the Virat Kohli had left at that point, and then subsequently, basically, people started falling like dominoes because everyone started getting injured. So a bunch of people got injured. A bunch of key players, Ravindra Jadeja was injured, Bumrah was injured for the last match. We did not have a number of other, like Virat Kohli was off on paternity, Rohit Sharma was not available, and so
yeah,
basically playing like and none of our bowlers, right? Like essentially, uh, we were playing with Siraj, Shardul, and Navdeep Saini, who was basically like would be considered the third tier India test attack, right? Because Ishan
yeah,
Sharma wasn't available, Shami is not available, Umesh Yadav is not available, and so two of them are still not available. Shami and Yadav are still not in the play, but Ishant obviously played the first test here in England, with England rather than India. So
yeah,
basically, all of that to say that we were playing a second, third tier team with which we won one match after losing the first one. So second one we win, the third one we work really hard to draw, and then out of nowhere we win the fourth match, which is the one that no one was expecting, and that's where people kind of now have all the and they're talking about this Asian century now, where basically India's ascendancy, India's dominance in world cricket was apparent because they had won with a third tier team in Australia beating Australia. Which
yeah.
is why coming into this England tour of India, my expectation was a 4-0 whitewash, that England would essentially lose all four matches. But what actually happens is that India loses the first match. And so, what were the key reasons you think that India lost this first match?
Yeah, as I said, they were definitely put on a pedestal, and getting that much importance, I think, in sports can work sometimes against you because you tend to take some things for granted, which I think this Indian side did.
Yeah,
Uh, they felt that if they could win with a third tier team, like you said, in Australia,
yeah,
in the ground where Australia hasn't lost a match in more than 50 years,
yeah.
they definitely had a lot of confidence going into this match, and it was maybe a little bit of overconfidence that played against them.
So you
I
think
Yeah,
you think that that overconfidence was a real factor here in this
I
match?
think it was a substantial factor. Obviously, it wasn't the
Okay.
only reason. I think the bowlers could have done a
Yeah.
much better job,
Right.
especially the spinners. I felt while Ashwin did an okay job, I felt Washington Sundar and Shahbaz Nadeem, they
Yeah.
did not come close to performing the way everyone expected him to. Washington
Right.
Sundar did
Nadeem.
okay with the bat, but Nadeem
Yeah.
was a big disappointment for me.
Yeah. So Nadeem ended up giving away. He got, I think it was 4 wickets or something like that total. Gave away 243
Yeah,
runs over the 5 days. So really, really disappointing because for him, people are saying Nadeem's probably never going to play Test cricket again, which I guess is, I guess it's fair given
it's a bit
how many
harsh.
runs
I
he
think
gave
it's a
away.
bit harsh.
Yeah.
Considering that also it was a very bad toss to lose, right? Because
Right. So let's
it
talk
was-
about the toss then, right?
yeah,
Like you do basically. So this is the other thing in cricket. Like coming back to cricket basics, like if you lose the toss, typically in a one-day match or a T20 match, if you win the toss, you're gonna look at the pitch. You're gonna think
yeah,
about whether it's good bowling conditions, batting conditions. But it seems like in Test cricket now they say that if you win the toss, you bat, regardless of whether what the
yeah,
pitch is like, where you're playing, where you're at. Like it just seems to be the way to go, and that
right,
seems to have been uh, tenfold, if not a hundredfold, here in the Chepauk pitch, where basically the pitch didn't do anything for the first 3 days. And England batted all through the first day, all through the second day, into the third day until they got out for a score of around 578 runs or something like that.
yeah.
So sounds like the toss played a huge role here.
I think it did, and I think if anything in test match, if you think about the length of the game, it's 5 days,
Yeah,
right? Uh,
yeah,
Pitch can change so much over a period of 5 days. In one day,
yeah.
it's a few hours. T20,
Right,
it's even less. So
right,
you don't expect pitch to change so dramatically, right? So even if you win the toss or you lose the toss, okay, sometimes it makes a difference. But in test match, it can make a huge difference, which it did in this case. I think it was
right.
a very bad toss to lose for India
Yeah,
because
yeah,
when they came to bat after almost 3 days, it was
yeah.
very, very different pitch versus what it was in the first day. And if you
Right.
see England in the second innings, all out on 180 something,
Yeah,
that just goes on to show how much the pitch has changed by then, right? Because they
right,
were under zero pressure at that point. They did not need a big score. They could have even
right,
declared at 180, but they got
right.
all out. So that just goes on to show how important the toss was for England.
Right. So if we look at the scorecard for the first test, right? Like to your point, what happens is that India basically let's see, England bat first, right?
Hmm.
And they get 578 runs in basically in how many overs? Like it's something like 180, like probably like around 200 overs or so they play, and they get 578 runs in their first innings. And
Yeah,
then India comes to bat and they get 337, right? And really the notable innings there was the quickfire 91 by Pant, who's become a little bit of an X factor now and seems to be like taken into consideration by captains. Like we'll talk a little bit about the second innings where there was a lot of criticism of the English captain Joe Root for not declaring earlier, and people are saying that the reason for that was because of that punt factor, that he could come in and do a quick fire 100, and then
sure.
any target becomes doable. So what happens is that England get 578, then India are put into bat. We get 337. Uh, like again, like a lot of our top guns have a heart, like don't really fire. So like essentially, Rohit does nothing in the first innings, right? Not that he did anything in the second, but he gets out for six. Pujara stands up and does 73, so does the Pujara thing and sticks around. Kohli kind of fails as well in the first innings. So Sharma, Kohli, and Rahane pretty much all three failed in the first innings, right?
Yeah.
Gill did his thing, Pujara did his thing, and obviously then Pant and Sundar kind of put their hand up, and we got to 337. And that's at that point, like we're basically into the fourth day, and then England come in and decide to actually play through almost all of the fourth day, which was surprising to a lot of people. And so they get out for 178. So that's back to that point about how the pitch had deteriorated so much that the
Yeah.
team that made 500 and almost 600 runs in the first innings gets all out for a measly 178 in the second. Uh, Part of that might be that they were trying to accelerate batting, but then part of it was the pitch.
To be honest, if you look at the strike rate, right? Uh,
Yeah,
so Joe Root had a strike rate of 125 in the second
right,
innings.
right,
Every other batsman had a strike rate, and okay, Ollie Pop had a strike rate of 87.5. Every other batsman had a strike rate of 50 or lower.
correct,
And what
correct.
that goes on to show is that I don't think they were even accelerating in the second innings.
Right, they
So
were
for
trying,
me,
but they were failing.
that was very weird what they did,
Yeah,
because to
yeah,
me, what I would have expected was that after Joe Root got out, they should have
yeah,
just tried to play like Pant and try to hit
right,
every ball for a six. And if it didn't work, it didn't work. But
right,
looking at the strike rate, it doesn't really show that they were even trying to accelerate. It shows
yeah,
that they were trying to stick around
yeah,
to almost waste time so that India
yeah,
have zero chance of winning.
Right. So they were taking the Indian win out of the equation, which they did effectively at that point, right? Because they gave us a
Yeah,
target of 420 runs
yeah,
for the last day and a few overs in the fourth day, which was basically just not going to happen. It would have been the highest ever chased total in the fourth innings ever in the history of cricket if we had done it, and obviously we
yeah,
didn't. So that was the weird thing with like especially like Bess coming in later and who was the other guy, Joss Butler coming in later and basically just trying to block the ball for like 20
yeah,
overs or something like that, right?
yeah,
And an absolute waste of time. So I guess Root got a lot of criticism for that, but ultimately it looks like they basically by taking out the India equation, uh, the India went out of the equation. They still gave themselves enough time to be able to get India all out in the fourth in the
yeah.
in India's second batting innings, and that was just a really dismal display by India on the fourth and the fifth day.
I think it was not very surprising, to be honest, because if you think about how much the pitch had changed on the fifth day,
Yeah, yeah,
and the fact that England themselves, who looked in such great form, were not able to score more than 180,
right,
I think it was not a big surprise that India did not manage to score more than they did.
right,
Uh, what I found a bit surprising was how Kohli played in the last innings. I think he played really well, and for someone who was
yeah,
not really in form to play
yeah,
that well, I felt and he got out on a ball which was almost impossible to play. So I felt that
right,
overall that was the surprise for me that
yeah,
that Kohli played well and despite the conditions, but overall the way India scored in the last match was
right.
predictable, I would say.
Right. So, any positives for India out of this match? I guess that last Kohli innings was a positive. Sundar's batting, I think, would be considered a positive as well. And obviously, Ashwin's bowling. Ashwin got his, I think they said
Yeah,
25th five for six, like, more than 5 wickets.
yeah.
So basically, got 6 wickets in one innings, uh, which is his 25th time doing more than a 5 wicket haul in a single inning. So that was impressive. I think Ashwin was probably the best thing we saw for India out of this match.
Yes, agreed. And I think the Kohli innings was a big positive as well for someone who was not really able to score runs in a long time.
Yeah.
Also had a big break from cricket, right? He only played
Yeah,
the first Test match and then he was out for the rest of the matches. So that was definitely a highlight.
yeah.
Seeing Rahane, I felt was a little underwhelming, and I think that's maybe some decision they have to make going forward if Rahane should be the captain and they let Kohli bat.
So that's
I know,
interesting,
yeah, I know
right?
that
Like,
was something they were discussing after the
yeah,
last Test series, but
yeah,
obviously no one expected Kohli not to be the captain when
right,
he returns. So I think
right.
that's maybe an interesting point we can discuss. What about Rahane? Where's his
Well,
place
so
in
I was very mad when India got 36 all out in that first test with Australia, and I thought that that was the time for heads to roll, right? Like that was a historic loss for India. And I thought that Kohli should have stepped down at that time. It just added to that by Rahane then going on to make a century in the next match, and India going on to win that whole series, right? And so there was a lot of credit to Rahane for all of that. However, it looks like Rahane's own position in the team as a batsman is not absolutely solid, right? He has done nothing in this first test, which admittedly,
it?
like was just the one match, right? Like there's more to come for sure. But I think that there is a real challenge there to Kohli's captaincy in
Yeah,
Rahane because you cannot discount the fact that India have now India have lost 4 matches on a trot under Kohli's captaincy, um, which is not a big deal, right? Like you lose matches, that's understandable. But in the middle of that, India drew one and won 2 matches under Rahane's captain. So with this basically the same team, or even a much worse team, right? Arguably with a third tier team, Rahane won them a match or two in Australia, right? And I don't know how much credit for that would go to Rahane, but at least if the captain takes the blame, then the captain should also get the credit for the victory. So I think that there's a real case there for Kohli to start focusing a little more on his batting, and maybe give up at least the Test captaincy to someone like a Rahane. Uh, Potentially down the line. I mean, I don't know, like Rohit is the other person they've talked about for captaincy, but Rohit's form as well has been incredibly dismal lately. Didn't really do anything
absolutely.
in
Yeah,
Australia. Um,
absolutely. And I think with Rahane, I feel not only is he doing well as a captain, but he's also doing well as a batsman when he's the captain of the team, which uh,
Exactly.
which obviously we don't have a lot of matches to prove
Right,
that's
right. The
the case. But
sample set is very small.
at least in the few instances we saw that, I think he did a
Yeah,
good job. And I feel every player performed right. If you look at the last Test match in Australia, where
yeah,
India pulled out a historic win, every player in the
yeah.
team did their job,
Right,
right?
right,
So
right.
I think that
Yeah,
was a big positive for
it's more
Rahani's
of a team
captain.
effort.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it seems like the team kind of gels together a little bit better under
yeah,
Rahane because that's what people have said that Kohli is such a demanding captain because he
yeah.
has high sort of standards for himself, but he also has high standards for everyone else around him. So it just ends up being
There's nothing wrong with
pressure
that. I think
cooker.
there's nothing wrong with that. But if you think about it, in cases like this where everyone expects India to win, right, the team just
Yeah,
gets even more pressure because of Kohli, and I
right.
think that becomes too much.
You need maybe a slightly gentler hand as a captain,
Yeah.
which Kohli, as great a batsman as he is, not known for his gentle demeanor or anything along those lines. So, well, all right. So that being said, it looks like obviously, at least to me, a huge shocker, our loss to England. Uh, Seems like the toss played a huge role, right? And that was a big factor. The other factor that I guess they're talking about is the ball. So they're playing with a new SG ball.
Yeah.
Where the Have you heard about this? Where they said that the seam was incredibly, uh, absolutely battered and destroyed in 60 overs. So
Yeah.
again, so going back to like cricket basics a little bit, like typically the seam of a cricket ball, which you see is the stitching on the leather here. Uh, Basically, so if you're listening to this, right, like it's the middle of the ball where the two pieces of leather come together, it's stitched together, and the ball can actually do a lot based on how the seam is actually held and where it falls on the ground. And if your seam is completely destroyed, your ball essentially becomes much less effective. And a cricket ball is expected to last about 90 overs. And they were saying that this new SG ball that they were trying out in Chennai lasted, basically, the steam just got completely decimated in 60 overs. Is that something you've heard about?
No, but I do remember seeing the ball in the match and how difficult it was for the bowlers to bowl after 30, 40 overs of bowling
Right.
with the same ball. And I can totally understand, bowling with the ball whose seam has been completely destroyed. It must be very difficult for the bowlers. So
Right.
definitely it played a part, but let's keep in mind that it was the same ball for both India and for England, right? And
Exactly.
England managed to
Exactly.
do a good job with it,
Right.
despite all of the hurdles it brought, but India
Yeah.
did not, right? So it's also sometimes
So,
managing with
right.
the conditions.
Right. So, I mean, that was my thing that you can't really use this as an excuse. Like Kohli brought it up and
Yeah.
Ashwin brought it up that like the scene was in the post match interviews that the ball was just, completely, unexpected from what you would expect in international cricket in terms of how the ball was behaving, in terms of how degraded it had gotten over the first 60 overs. So, can't really use that as an excuse, but maybe something to think about. So, all right. So now here's where we stand. The World Test Championship is coming up, and we needed to win at least, either obviously 4-0 or 3-1 or even 2-1 will actually do it. So that's what we're needing to be able to get into that World Test Championship final. Let's talk about that. Are you familiar with what the World Test Championship is about?
Not entirely, but I do know that England is in the first position now, if I'm not wrong, and India slipped to
Yeah,
fourth.
correct. So, well, yeah, that's just in the standings, but New
Yeah.
Zealand has already qualified for the World Test
Ah,
Championship
okay.
final. So basically, cricket used to be that, like, it was all about you go on these tours and you play other teams, but then you have these quote unquote ICC tournaments around them, right? Like you have your Cricket World Cup, and then they started the T20 World Cup and stuff like that. The test matches, there's never been a World Cup or anything like that. But the one ODI World Cup has always ODI being One Day International, which is the middle-sized format of cricket. Cricket comes in three sizes: small, medium, and large. And so small is obviously T20, medium is ODI, and large is Test cricket. So the medium format World Cup is the biggest kind of tournament that exists in cricket. And now there used to be a qualifying format for that, but that's all changed now. So every series that you play now actually counts towards getting into that cricket World Cup, the One Day World Cup. So the organizing team is by default in. So for instance, for the next 2023 World Cup, One Day World Cup, India is already in because it's being held in India, but then all the other teams have to actually qualify for it. So that's the one day. And then they started this thing for Test cricket as well, where there's a World Test Championship, and based on all the Test matches that you play, you qualify to play a World Test Championship final, which is going to be held in Lords later this year. New Zealand has already qualified.
Okay. And how many teams qualify for it?
Two teams. It's just one final match, one
Oh,
test
okay.
match. Yeah, one test
Okay.
match in Lords between the two teams that top the table of the World Test Championship. So that's what is called WTC. And that is a highly, well, it's become slightly, well, no one used to care about tests. So it's also become like a thing about, well, cricket purists will always care about tests, but people who are kind of more interested in like that immediate gratification or, more short, like have shorter attention spans, T20 or ODI has been kind of becoming the more relevant form of cricket for them. So yeah,
So I think if the
uh,
match is happening at Lords, I hope England qualifies then, because
yeah,
it'll be funny if the World Cup happening in England or the World Test Championship happening in England and England doesn't play.
yeah.
But obviously, that being said, I'm definitely going to support for India.
And that's interesting too, like because the last cricket One Day World Cup, England actually won for the first time ever in the history of cricket. England won a cricket World Cup,
Yeah,
and that was also at Lords.
home ground.
So
Yeah, and it was also against New Zealand. So
correct, absolutely. So the
we,
England
we
is
might be
England cricket
we might
is.
be seeing a revenge from New Zealand this time.
Yeah,
If
I
they manage
don't
to-
think England will qualify. To be
But if they
completely
win
honest,
against India, don't they automatically qualify for it, or
they
they
would
have?
have to win. They would have to
Oh,
win this upcoming match and then one more. So I think England
oh,
has to be like a two. Actually, I think 3-1. I don't know the stats exactly, but I think England has to be 3-1 or two
okay.
zero to be able to qualify. Which I think England winning one more and two other drawn matches with this India series is, I think, is pretty unlikely. If the overall series is drawn, then Australia qualify. If India win 2-1 or 3-1, then India qualify. And I think that 2-1 or 3-1 is more likely for India right now in my head. So I think that
Yeah.
obviously remains to be seen, but that's the way I'm thinking about it right now. So then that being said, like going into the second test, what are we expecting here? Like how big a factor is the toss going to be? Because it's still in Chepauk in the same stadium, but apparently they're using a different pitch. They're using a pitch about three pitches away from the current one, which is more of like has more play in it, so might do more for spin early on. So thoughts on this second test?
So I think there are two things to keep in mind for the second
Yeah,
match. First thing is that they're going to allow spectators, so they'll have an audience
interesting.
this time,
That's very
which they
interesting.
not in the first game, right?
Correct,
So that's
correct.
going to obviously play in India's favor. But
Right.
again,
You have to expect that it's going to be a fully India audience,
yeah, I mean, come
right?
on,
Like
it's
you
a
can't expect
pandemic.
that.
You don't expect England, anyone from England, to travel to
I
India
will
for
be
the
very
match.
surprised.
So it's going to be and every time India plays in India, they have enough people supporting them that
Yeah,
they'll have a full home crowd. So
correct.
that's not a big factor, I think. And the other thing to keep in mind is how India it changes the team that they have in the
Yeah,
second match, right? So
yeah,
for me, I see at least two players getting replaced in the second
yeah,
match. The first
yeah,
would be Rohit Sharma for me,
yeah.
and the
Oh, you
second
do
would
think
be
Rohit
Shabaz
Sharma gets
Nadir.
dropped?
I feel they should drop Rohit Sharma. I'm
Interesting.
still not sure who will replace Rohit Sharma. I
Yeah.
think they have KL Rahul who could do a good job. He's always opened in one day cricket and T20 cricket, and
Well,
sorry, he's opened in T20 cricket, not always 120 cricket,
right,
but
right.
he's always done a great job at it.
But
And
the
what we are
one that
seeing with
the
yeah,
person who's the person who they're talking about, sorry to cut you off, is Mayank Sharma. No, not
Mayank
Mayank
Sharma,
Sharma.
Mayank
Sorry,
Agarwal,
Mayank Pandey,
Agarwal,
Mayank Agarwal. Yeah, that
Mayank Agarwal.
he's the one who they're saying, but they gave him chances in Australia, but he
They
didn't
did.
really convert.
Yeah, they did. And I think Mayank Agarwal is a very good test player. But I feel what at least what I've seen so far is that
Yeah,
some energy, some T20 energy helps a lot in test cricket as well. And
like
I feel
Sundar
like
and
Sundar,
Pant.
like Pant. Pant has been a T20 player since a long time. We love him in IPL matches. And
Right,
what he's displayed in tests is just taking his game from T20, and he's not changing his game completely. He's just
right.
fixing. those, one or two small things, he starts
Right.
off a bit more patient than he does in T20 cricket. And then
Yeah.
once he gets his shots, once the ball starts hitting the middle of the bat, he just goes for it, right?
Right.
And I think what he also displayed in Australia in the last match was just playing a little bit with his head, and the right attitude that Test
Right.
cricket requires. Because if you think about
Right.
it, when he was playing the spinners, he was not really trying to go after every ball. And if the ball was
Right.
only coming onto the stump, onto the wicket, was he really
Right.
trying to hit the ball? And I think
So
that's something that I feel he's able to do well from T20 cricket, bringing his game to Test cricket. And I think
right.
Rahul can do the same.
So background on Pant, right? Like he's been around for a bit now, but is known for playing somewhat rash cricket.
Yeah,
And like he's basically a spitfire batsman. Like goes hard at it and works well for like limited over formats, which is the small and medium sized formats that I was talking about. But he's been turning out better in Test cricket just of late, and we think that there's something there, and he could be an all format player for us. So obviously the other criticism of Pant is that he's a wicket keeper batsman, and his wicket keeping is not the best in the world. Like he
yeah.
has been known to make blunders there, and that's kind of the other criticism that he gets, that his wicket keeping could stand to improve quite a bit. So that remains to be seen if his wicket keeping how that plays out. In the first match, it was okay. He dropped one catch and missed one stumping. The catch was going to be really, really hard. The stumping was a little bit more egregious miss on his part. But I think he did okay, especially because he scored good runs in the first match. So you're
Absolutely.
thinking Rohit Sharma possibly dropped. Obviously,
Yeah.
Shubman Gill stays as an opener. Pujara obviously stays. Kohli stays. Rahane stays. And Pant stays, right? Do you see Sundar playing this match?
I think they'll give another chance to Sundar for the reason that they have an extra batsman in him, right? He's kind of doing
Right,
what Jadeja was doing,
right.
but at the same time,
So he's
he's more consistent as a batsman than Jadeja is, I feel.
interesting. Yeah. Well, so he's what's been called the poor man's Jadeja. So background on Ravindra Jadeja, he is basically one of our three format players. Excellent finger spinner, and in addition to that, obviously also plays the role of a batsman. And it seems like Sundar is kind of doing that for us right now, except that his bowling was kind of, didn't do so well the
Yeah.
first match. Obviously, he did better with the
I think
bat.
he made up with it with his batting, which is why I
Right,
feel he'll be given another chance.
right.
Again, Ashwin definitely playing.
Ashwin will stay. Nadeem is
Bumrah
dropped.
definitely staying. Ishant
Right,
Sharma definitely staying.
right. So
So
you don't think they rest the fast bowler? You don't have anyone to
uh,
replace them with,
yeah,
right?
that's the problem at the moment. I feel they need two pace bowlers, and
Right.
the two they can use at the moment are Ishant Sharma and Jasprit
Boomerang.
Bumrah. Again,
Right.
I think Natarajan did a great job in Australia. So
Yeah, yeah.
if they want to rest one, they have Natarajan
Right. So
second
Natu,
wicket.
they're not playing for the for the England series at all. I think for
At
the
all.
test
Okay,
matches.
okay, okay.
For the test matches, they're not playing him. The other guys,
I think they
Shardul.
should have picked him, to be honest, because he's
Yeah,
from Chennai. It was his
yeah,
home ground. He could have done a
yeah.
good job there.
They said
But
they quote unquote rested him because he just had a kid and he didn't get to go
okay,
see his kid like Kohli did because of whatever reasons. So I think they wanted him to be able to have some time with his kid, which is fair.
fair enough. Yeah, fair
But we
enough.
still have Siraj and Chardul. I think both of them are in the squad still. So those two are options
Yeah, yeah.
potentially.
Siraj, for sure. I think if they
Yeah, I think
give
Siraj
him a rest,
might be a
they
good
should
pick.
give Siraj a chance. Shardul
Yeah,
Thakur again. I think he's probably a better batsman, or he's probably what Sundar is doing right now. But
right.
I don't think his bowling is that great, to be honest,
Right
because
off the park.
you need a couple of bowlers who are able
Right.
to get the speed. I don't think Shardul Thakur
Yeah.
can get that speed. Uh,
Yeah.
and then you need spinners, right? You need three spinners if you're playing in India, and I think for me, Ravindra, Chandran Ashwin, Washington Sundar, and the third one, I think they'll have to think it through because Jadeja.
So what are our options there? Jadeja is not an option. Kuldeep Yadav is an option. Obviously, there's a lot of
Kuldeep
criticism of
Yadav is an
cricket.
option, but
Right,
again, Test cricket, Kuldeep Yadav is not your best bet. Maybe one day
right,
cricket, not Test cricket.
right.
Uh,
I think Akshar Patel, who they're talking about, they're most likely going to replace Shahbaz Nadeem with Akshar Patel. Akshar was going to play the first match. He was injured on the last day, and so Nadeem was
yeah,
brought in for him. So Akshar Patel probably comes in for Nadeem, and then I
I
don't
think
think
they
they
can
will
give him
drop
a
Rohit
chance.
Sharma.
I think they can give him a chance. Also with Akshar Patel, you get a little bit of batting which you can always do it, right?
Correct.
You saw the
Correct.
Taylors doing a good job in Australia in the first test match here. So I
Correct.
think having some extra batting helps in these conditions.
Correct. Correct.
So I
So
think Akshar
I
Patel
think
has a
that'll
good
be the only change then, right? Like
yeah,
I don't know that they're going to drop Sharma. I would be okay if they drop Sharma and brought in either Mayank Agarwal or better. I agree with you. I think KL Rahul is a
yeah. I
really
think
good
the other
option.
thing with KL Rahul is discussing what you were just saying about Rishabh Pant, that he's not the best keeper, right? So I agree he's not the best person behind the stump, but he makes up for it with what he does in front of the stump. So
Right.
I
Right.
think KL Rahul can replace him behind the stumps and do a little bit of keeping,
Oh, that's interesting. I see.
and then that gives Rishabh Pant chance to focus on his batting fully. And
Hmm.
on top of that, KL Rahul can also do a little bit of batting. In fact, he's a
Well,
pretty good.
KL Rahul is known for his bat. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
think his primary role would be a bat. I mean, he scored the
yeah.
most runs in the
He's not in
last
the best
IPL.
form at the moment. He's a
Right.
better T20 batsman, but at the same time, I think
Yeah.
given how well he bats, I think he can also
Right.
uh, customize his game to the
Right.
conditions. Yeah,
I mean, that's one of the things we've learned over the last couple of months, right? Like a T20 skill set possibly is expandable to Test cricket,
yeah,
given the right circumstances and given the right, application
absolutely.
from the player.
Yeah,
So,
and
so
and
there's
his
something
team
there.
has home advantage, so I think that
Right.
that's
Right.
got to mean something, right? Like
Right.
these guys
Right.
play IPL over here all the time. They're
Right.
used to scoring big runs. So
Right.
I think even if KL Rahul bats for 100 balls and scores like a 70-80 runs, I think it's a
Yeah.
good contribution from a player.
Yeah, given the scores we got, that would be a pretty great contribution, actually. All right, so
Yeah,
that's about the Indian team. It remains to be seen if they actually drop Sharma. I think it's kind of unlikely. Let's quickly go over the England team before we wrap up, I guess. So from the England team, they did actually just announce their 12-man squad. So let's just go over that and see what our thoughts are on that. So there's Joe Root, obviously, still being the captain. Rory Burns is still going to play.
hmm,
Dom Sibley is going to be in there. Dan Lawrence is going to be in there. Dan Lawrence kind of had a little bit more disappointing of a test. Sibley, obviously, Burns and Sibley obviously did really well opening for them. Stokesy
yeah,
is there, so Ben Stokes will play. Ollie Pope will play, and they bring in Moeen Ali. So for that, now that extra spin option, which is very interesting because they have.
and
So
are they
they
dropping
basically
Jack Leach or they're dropping
no Leach is playing. Best was dropped. So
Best was dropped? Oh, I think
Dominic,
Tom Best did a
yeah.
great job with the ball.
Yeah,
I
I
was
don't know if he was
surprised.
rested, but it says here that essentially Dom Bess is not in the lineup, and Moeen Ali is. So presumably Dominic Bess was dropped for Ali. Leach
Okay,
is still there, and then Anderson was rested, and I think that was
that makes
expected.
sense. Yeah.
The
I mean, he's
Anderson,
38 years old and he's still
right,
bowling. I'm very
right,
surprised with Anderson.
yeah.
And he did an amazing job in the second innings with
He
the two
really did.
wickets,
I mean,
from
he
Rahane
destroyed
and
us in that 1 over.
absolutely, absolutely. Rahane and Shubman Gill, those two balls. I mean,
Yeah,
I can't imagine, something like
yeah,
that. And talking about the ball and what it was like, in this game, still
yeah.
pulling out wickets like that, I think he did an amazing job.
Yeah, just an absolute fucking exponent of reverse swing
Yeah,
right there. And one of the goats, really, as far as spin bowling is concerned. Very, very impressive performance by Anderson. Rested for this match, though. So Stuart Broad comes in, which was expected. And so Chris Wokes is playing as well. And then you have, who was there? I think Chris Wokes played the first test as well.
no, no.
So
Chris
Wokes did
Wood did
not
not
play.
play, no. So they had Jofra
Okay.
Archer and Joss Butler. I think those were the two we missed.
Right. So Josh Butler is out, and basically Ben Folks comes in for him because he's going to be Ben Folks is going to be doing the wicket keeping. For fast bowling, you have got Stuart Broad, obviously leading the attack, and then you don't have Jofra Archer. Oh yeah, so Jofra Archer actually was injured, so he had a stomach
Oh,
bug that ruled him out, and so I think that's where they bring in.
eating too much Indian
I
food, I think.
I guess that's what he's doing. I mean, that's our secret weapon in India, the other secret weapon that
Yeah.
feed them the Indian food and see what happens there. So I guess Ollie Stone kind of either Ollie Stone or Chris Wokes, I guess you could say, comes in for. So essentially, you're playing Chris Wokes, Ollie Stone, and Stuart Broad. Actually, this is the 12-man team, so Stone, I guess, may or may not play. but you get Vokes and Broad for Archer uh, and Anderson basically, and then you've got Ben Foakes keeping. So what do you think about this team makeup and their chances in the second test?
I think the team is not as strong as the first match. To be honest, I think
Right?
Anderson and Jofra Archer. Jofra Archer, he did an amazing job in the first innings. Anderson did a
They're
great
gonna
job in
miss
the
them.
second innings,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think those two are bowlers which are who are very good at bowling bouncers as well, especially Jofra Archer.
mm,
And I think
yeah,
that's one weakness which I think in Indian team, especially with Cheteshwar Pujara, who's supposed to
right,
be the new wall we have in our team.
right.
That's the weakness, and I think if someone can bowl a bouncer every over and really make them struggle, I think that's something Jofra Archer was able to do. Without him, I think that's going to be a gap in the England team.
Right.
And let's see if the new guys are able to fill that gap. But I think England has a subpar bowling in the second Test match.
So you think bowling is going to be the thing that's probably, yeah, because the batsmen are all there, right? Like obviously
Yeah,
Root is still leading the attack from the front. So I guess what remains to be seen is if they can bowl even sort of not even par, but as close as possible to what they did in the first test. So I
yeah,
think for me looking at this lineup, I think India, if they don't win the second test, then we're basically done because uh, England is going to miss both Anderson and Jofra Archer pretty heavily. I think regardless of who gets to bat first, regardless of who wins the toss, I think this
yeah.
is India's test to lose. Um, and yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
that's what
really
people
see.
thought in the first test as well.
I
So
know, and
let's
then,
be
then
careful with what we say.
yeah,
I think, but India will be going with a certain level of humility in the second test,
right,
knowing what
absolutely.
happened
So
in the
that
first one.
right, right. The factor that you were talking about, the pedestal factor, is not there anymore. Obviously, having been
Yeah,
harshly brought to the ground by a very significant over
yeah.
250 run loss in the first test. Okay, so I mean, Stuart Broad can still be deadly, so that's something to just kind of keep in mind, I guess, as we go into this thing.
Yeah.
Any parting thoughts, Pavel?
I think the last thing I wanted to say was I'm not sure if you managed to hear the post match conference of Virat Kohli
Yeah,
where he
I
was
did.
explaining what happened in the match. What did you think about that?
Well, so he talked about a few different things. I think he kept up his thing of like, his thing was he blamed the second tier spinners, right, or the second kind of string of spinners after Ashwin. He obviously said Ashwin did really well, which he did. Ishan and Bumrah also did very well. So he said our kind of quote unquote backup spinners and Nadeem and Sundar didn't really do very well, and that was one of the factors. Gave away too many runs, and then he blamed the seam, right? He blamed the ball a little bit, I think, which again to me is an excuse. Like that's not something you can play. You're playing in home conditions. You have that advantage. You can't really blame things like that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I think that he looked very serious. I think he definitely he was being very Kohli, right? Like he definitely becomes a little bit defensive
yeah,
and like
yeah.
gets very serious. So I think that's what you get with Kohli. So what did you think?
Yeah, I mean exactly what you said. I think he was too defensive. I felt. For me, I would have liked him to come into that with a strategy on what they're going to
Yeah,
do. That
yeah.
that
No, he basically said we're gonna do the same thing. These things
yeah,
happen. We're gonna do the same thing. Yeah,
yeah, and I think that's where there's a thin line between being confident of your team and being a little too arrogant and
right.
not realizing where things went wrong. And I think that's where I feel Kohli as a captain lacks that
Yeah,
self. Uh, the whole feeling of trying to understand where you go wrong and how you correct it in the
yeah,
next match, right? And I
right.
think that's where,
Yeah,
again, coming back to the whole Kohli being the captain thing, I think that's something he, in my opinion, needs to work on.
yeah,
After a
yeah,
game like that, you can't be that it was
yeah,
just a game that we lost and we are going to win the
yeah,
next one. I think you need to
yeah,
have a clear head in terms of
yeah,
what is it that you're going to do in the next one, so you
yeah,
don't make the same mistakes in this,
yeah, yeah.
and
I
go with that strategy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think he comes up like he is perpetually walking that line between arrogance and overconfidence, right? Like that's something that I think Kohli struggles with a little bit because he comes across as arrogant sometimes, at least to others or other fans of other teams. And who knows, maybe there is some arrogance there. I think the problem is, and also it's one thing if it was like a Dhoni, right, who's a student of the game. And if you hear Dhoni say something like, that we have plans, we're going to implement them, you will be like, okay, Dhoni has plans, he will implement them. And he's not going to talk to us about it, and that's okay because you know that it's Dhoni. With Kohli, it's like, it's a little bit harder. Like, I don't think that kind of he does not instill that confidence. I mean, I don't know what he does in the dressing room, but to us as outsiders, you definitely don't get that sense of calm confidence. It's
Yeah.
not something that Kohli is known for. All right. So with that, I guess we'll see how this test match goes, and if depending on how things work out, we'll probably be back to talk about the
Mhm.
results of this match and hoping for the best. Anything else to add to that, Follow?
No, just looking forward to next one, and I know it's going to be bad memories playing in the same stadium
Yeah.
within a matter of a few days, but with the crowd and with a few changes to Indian side, and hopefully also the changes to the Indian England side, which favors India, in my opinion, I think I'm very positive going into the second match.
Cool. Sounds good. So we'll be back after the first test, hopefully with some good news, and continue to sort of talk about cricket and
Mhm.
how cricket works and things like that. With that, that's a wrap.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.